Shai was just talking about kind of needing to want to win, but not want to win too bad, that you play outside yourself. As your best player seems to show immense restraint. How big of a factor is that for you guys as a team, particularly in a one and done type of situation like this?
Yeah, winning can be a distraction. Success can be a distraction. Your own ambition can be a distraction. At the end of the day, you got to be very present and just play the game. And obviously, there's a lot of noise around it when you get to this time of the year. Shai's a great leader in that sense. He's just got a great steady temperament through all the ups and downs of the season, including the ups. And this is an exciting time for the team. We're obviously very excited to play. He's got a great poise to him that I think will be contagious with the guys.
We were talking yesterday about double teams. How vital will it be just in terms of your playmaking out of the pocket, kind of elbow, free throw line area?
I mean, it's going to be critical. They're going to go get them at different points in the game. And, we're confident in the playmaking we've got at those spots. We got good decision makers that can play with advantages. And so, again, we've prepared for it, but not over-prepared. We'll see how we're getting played and then go from there.
I know it won't always be him, but where have you seen Jay Will take strides in that area, being able to play out of that spot on the floor?
He's always kind of had good vision in terms of finding the open man. His main strides have come like when there's no advantage, really. The advantage passing he's always had. It's more like on the perimeter he's become much more decisive transferring the ball and getting the offense connected side to side. That's where I think he's made the most gains.
Kind of along the same lines of the question about Shai, we were talking to Josh, and he was his first postseason practices of his career, and he was saying just treat it like any other practice and just get to it, work hard. What have you thought of these guys and their first experience in this sort of situation and their approach to these practices?
2 good days. They gave good physical effort for sure yesterday, and good mental focus the last couple days. We're giving them an appropriate amount of information to get prepared for the game. And I think we are prepared, and now we've got to, go out there tomorrow and let it rip.
You talked earlier this season about how you got to know Willie Green a little bit when he was here for however long it was. How they've gone through a lot of ups and downs this year, a lot of injuries. How have you seen kind of how he's managed and pushed that team?
Yeah, and they've done that for a couple of years now too. Last year was a similar situation. Good steady hand, that thing, quality person. Willie, and good coach, really competent. They're in the right stuff on both ends of the floor, really organized, good tactics on defense and schemes on defense. Offensively, gets his best guys to spots, puts the defense in a dilemma, manages the game, does all the things that an impactful coach does.
Will you guys as a team or as a staff watch the 7-8 game tonight?
Not together.
Okay.
I'm sure the guys will, just because what else are you going to do? But we'll have eyes on it from a prep standpoint, but not like all together.
Yeah, it's exciting. Obviously, 82 games is finished, and we head into the postseason now, which is what every player wants to do every time they step on the floor. So it's exciting. The group's ready. We had a good practice today. And the guys will be ready for tomorrow night.
Just want to ask you about guys playing out of the pocket. Guys slipping screens, and they double team the way that they do. How important will those situations be, and how have you seen some growth from guys like Jay Will and others who are going to be in those situations?
Yeah, it's important. Obviously, New Orleans, does tend to trap and throw different looks at at ball handlers, and it's going to be up to us other guys and the bigs to kind of stay in the pocket so we have outlets to get the ball to. And guys like Jay Will, who we all trust with the ball, he tends to make good things happen when we get him the ball in the middle of the floor. So he's a smart player, and 9 out of 10 times he's going to make the right read.
It's interesting. 2 of the things that you guys have talked about all season long are making quick decisions, making early decisions, and defensive rebounding. Is this New Orleans team kind of going to test you in those 2 crucial areas you've been talking about all year?
Yeah, making early decisions is going to be very important. These guys are, very active with their hands, tend to get a lot of steals. Starts with Herb Jones on the ball. So just being strong with it, and making the right read. It's whether that's shooting, passing, whatever it is, doing it, being decisive with it. Making the right reads is going to be very important against a defense like this. They're high in the league in forcing turnovers, so definitely got to be strong with the ball.
But for you guys, a lot of guys going through postseason practices for the very first time, just as a group collectively. What's kind of been the focus and the mentality for you guys during this stretch?
Yeah, I think the big message is trying to approach it the same way we do any other game. We don't want to suddenly change the way we prepare just because the game's at higher stakes. continue to do what we've done all year that's got us to this point. And I think guys are really buying into that. So it's obviously, we know what's at stake with this game. You win, you move on, you lose, you go home. So preparing the same way we have for a lot of other games, but I'm sure come tomorrow night, we'll feel that environment, that playoff environment, in New Orleans.
A lot of people talk about in the playoffs how every possession matters. Really, it does in this game. Is that something you guys have stressed a lot?
Definitely. We even did that in the preseason where coach kind of showed us some games from the playoffs and the finals of the little tiny things that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, but how important they are in those games and winning, playoff games. So we've kind of harped on it all year, how important the little details are, and it's going to be no different come tomorrow night.
What are some of those things you take away from the past matchups with the Pelicans and kind of, what you guys need to improve on?
Yeah, I think taking care of the ball is the big one. I think they were the team that, probably gave us the most problems turnover-wise. And a lot of that's on us ball handlers, being strong with it, making the right reads. I think they're a good offensive rebounding team. Their wings, Valanciunas is in there, crashing, Nance is in there. So us, guards and wings helping our bigs out on the boards is going to be very important. But those two things are probably the main ones. But being strong with the ball is important because these guys are, active with their hands and tend to force a lot of turnovers.
Have you talked to Dyson at all about this matchup?
I have, yeah. We spoke last night, but obviously both very excited. Two childhood friends getting to play on a playoff atmosphere together is going to be fun. But he's looking forward to it, and so am I.
Shai, just what have the last couple of days been like as you prepare for this opportunity, and how excited is this group right now to get this new experience together?
Yeah, we know it's at stake. We know what position we're in. We're aware of everything. We prepared. Now it's just about going out there, playing basketball, playing the game we love, and trying to execute.
This is going to be an interesting test because you guys have talked all year about making early decisions and defensive rebounding. Is this team going to kind of test those two core things you guys have been working on all year?
Yeah, I think every team in every game, especially when you play against really good basketball teams, they test those things, and I think that's why coaches have been honing on it all season. When games like this come and they really matter and both teams really want to win, it's the teams with the good habits that pull through and get off it early, cut, move the ball, play together defensively, all the little things that every team tries to accomplish every night. At this point, it's too late to try to teach it. It's either a habit or not, and I think that's why we've been harping on it all season long.
And I just want to ask you about Jay Will, and wanted to know what you've seen from him in terms of his ability to kind of make the next play in that elbow, nail area.
Yeah, he's a basketball player, and it comes natural to him. He makes the right basketball plays on both sides of the floor, and I think that's what it's going to come down to. Teams are going to have schemes. It's about who can play basketball and make the right decisions and live with the results in the night.
You played in a Game 7 in an NBA playoff game. Do you think that experience comes close to this must-win, one-and-done type of game, or what do you draw on when you're in a situation that's so unique like this?
I mean, I think the Game 7 is probably a little bit more just because you invested so much. It's been like 2 weeks, and now it's win or go home. But it's the same thing. You try to win the basketball game, and nothing else really matters.
Do you think you'll remember some of that feeling? Does that help you in any way, having been through a Game 7?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think it goes back to what I said. At the end of the night, once the ball tips, it'll be our habits versus their habits, and who can oppose their will on the game more. And then whoever does that will get a W.
Yesterday, Mark said that the Pelicans double you more than any team in the NBA. Can you sort of take us back to some of those past matchups and what it's like kind of attacking that and what the key is for you?
Yeah, like Coach said, they have doubled me, especially end the game. They throw it sometimes throughout the game to kind of keep me off balance. We're aware of that. We've worked on it. We know how to attack out of it. And like I said, we're prepared for what they've thrown. They're obviously a really good basketball team. And we're prepared to go toe-to-toe.
And then a lot's been made in the past matchups, you against Herb Jones, an elite offensive player against a really good defensive player. What about him makes him a good defensive player?
He knows where he hangs his hat every night. On that end of the floor, and he gives it his all, and tries to make his plays on that end of the floor.
What was your thought on the fans were waiting for you guys at the airport the other day? Because that was your first experience since you're here because of the COVID.
Yeah, it was cool.
You seems very excited.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we knew it was happening, but the fans have been amazing all season, and that was just a cherry on top. They support us. Obviously, home court is super fun because they're there and the energy that they bring. It's just the fans being the fans, and we appreciate them.
Joe was asking about them defending you, but obviously with CJ and with Brandon, they've got two guys that can get going. What's key for you guys defensively?
I think what you try to do with specifically those guys, what you try to do with every team's best players, you try to make things difficult on them. You watch film, you look at the notes, you see their tendencies, and you try to take them away and try to make them as uncomfortable as possible. And that's what you try to do with every team's best player.
Obviously, Lou will be on one of those guys, but then whoever he's not on, you just have to be uber aware of them all the time. And
With good offensive players, in games like this, you got to be uber aware no matter who you are, no matter who you're guarding. If the game comes down to one possession and you fall asleep that one possession, you're gonna wish you had it back. So I think us being as focused as we can be all game, no matter who it is, and knowing tendencies will be best.
Shai, just 2 years removed from your last playoff appearance with this team in your first year here, how does it feel, leading this team back to the postseason this year when, really no one saw this coming, at least from the outside?
It's fun. I think the reason why it's fun is not because we outdid expectations or anything like that. I think it's just because we have so much fun together on and off the court. It's almost like being in the NBA with your brothers and your family, and it makes it so much more fun than the regular NBA team. I think that's what's special about this group. We're so close, and we've gotten so much better in such a short amount of time.
Yesterday, J-Dub talked about that you and Lou talked to him about, and the other guys about just playing the playoffs for the first time. Just wondered if you could share any of those nuggets you shared with those guys.
J-Dub said I spoke to him about that?
He said that you and Lou said some different things about like what it's like to play in the playoffs and play in like what they should expect.
Oh, I might have been zoned out in that conversation. I don't remember the conversation, but I can give you a few things. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be electric. It's going to be nerves. Building's going to be loud. Every team, every player is going to want to win the game. And I think the importance is finding the balance in between trying to win it and not trying to win it too bad, and just following the game plan and doing what we're supposed to do out there.
Do you feel kind of recharged after having 6 days off, kind of in between games?
I didn't know it's been 6 days, but yeah, I do feel good, feel completely healthy, ready to go.
Shai,
I mean, you may have always asked this question. Unlike 2 years ago, you weren't the top of scouting report. You are now. How different is that for you? I mean, is that just like another regular season game that's different from that?
Yeah. Since that time, I've been the top of scouting report for a lot of games, so I'm pretty used to it at this point. But yeah, like you said, it'll be, I guess, a different experience. But I'm prepared and ready for it for sure.
You may get matched up with Brandon Ingram cross match. What's different about guarding him? He's got long arms like you. Seems like somebody shooting behind his neck sometimes. How do you deal with him?
Try to make him uncomfortable. Try to get into space. Just try to take him out of his comfort zone. Try to take him out of his tendencies. Like I said, I think you try to do that with most players of his caliber.
Got some rookies on this team, obviously, that this is their first experience, but fairly advanced as far as rookies go. What are you interested to see out of them tomorrow night? You played as a rookie in a series, so.
Want them to play free. Want them to play confident, and be aggressive. I think they do those things. Our rookies are more than talented, and they'll be fun.